Hello everybody, and I hope you're doing well, and welcome to a classic difficulty guide. The link is in the description if you do want to check it out, and if you've got no interest in watching the video and the fights and the footage that we're going to put with it, just hit the like button, go and check out the link in the description, and I thank you for supporting the channel as always. But let's get right into it. I am developing an Elder guide, which is a bit of a different setup because there's lots of choice nodes, and our roster is more width based than it is with this when having a team of 5. So the first node is high voltage, shocking revelations. You could bring in champions that do have like shock based like damage to them, but again, that's going to be down to what you've got. And a lot of times people will play into the tech based node elements by bringing in tech champions. You could also bring in synergy based champions, but I like to focus this more on maybe bringing about 2 champions in to counter the boss and the remaining 3 to be taken into the path. So with that in mind, when you're going up against some of the various champions that you might find on the easy path, of all the paths as well, you might want to bring shock champions or power drain or power control based options. I've presented a lot of options in the spreadsheet, which look a little bit like this, where you can go and check out, as I said, link in the description. With Warlock on an SP1 rotation, Idoom, of course, is always great. Shuri, Hulkbuster, and Mega Sentinel with the Nimrod synergy. That's a synergy one right there. And then you've got tons of other ones. Future Ant-Man, Vision, Guillotine 2099, Civil Warrior, yeah, Civil Warrior, I'm surprised that's in there, Mysterio, and various other tech champions that will be able to do this quite cleanly. But when we have got the boss in rotation, well, what champions are good for the boss? This is your Venom Pool boss. The options that I've presented for here are going to be the likes of Mystic champions. If you've got those that are bleed immune and Mystic based options, they can be very handy. I'm looking at you, Black Widow Clairvoyant, in the bleed curse. I'm looking at you, Absorbing Man, whilst in, I think it's Uru form, but I can't remember. But also other champions do this very cleanly as well. Kashala's very good here, Colossus, Iceman, Ultron. Ultron's an iffy one because it's class disadvantage, and Dust, of course. But anything that's got a bleed immunity can be very helpful. If you've got anything that smashes through buffs like America Chavez or Ebony Moore, then of course you can have a good old time using this. And of course Mr. Sinister, because let's face it, bleed comes up, bleed turns to degen, and guess what degen does? Lots of damage. We like to see lots of damage in a very fun rotation. So those would be my options against this. But who did you use for any of these fights, including the boss fights and the paths that I haven't mentioned? Put it in the comments down below. So something I didn't mention in the previous segment, and something just kind of like forewarn you, is look at what's on the path. If there's a poison damage champion, like Abomination was an easy path, bring in like a Warlock, or bring in something that's got a poison immunity, or a countering of some particular measure, whether it's like slow debuff or something like that. Anyway, 1.2, on 1.2 we have got Mystic based champions as your main ones to use. I recommend Doctor Doom. Magic's an iffy one, depending if you've got the 5-star version and want to kind of suffer that way. You've got Scarlet Witch. But some of the better options are some of the more latest champions that have been released, like Spiral, Ebony Maw, Kindred, White Tiger, fantastic option. SP1 rotation, can't recommend that enough. Wiccan SP1 rotation, Shathra, of course, with power control, and of course, Black Widow Clairvoyant. Weird that she's not a 7-star. I really think that's a bit weird, but we'll see in the future. Any of these champions can recommend. Also, Dr. Voodoo, who recently got a little bit of a bufferoonie with that one. So when we're going back to the game and we're talking about your boss is going to be Morpheus. It's Morbin time. Well, it's up to you if you want to Morb. Anyway, champion options, depending on your, like, how you want to take this on. Options: Chilf, Kingpin, Crossbones. People have recommended Future Ant-Man. That's fine. I found that I wanted to go down the counter route and ended up using the likes of Nick Fury, Bullseye. But that is a long, I think it's a long fight with Bullseye, and it's not exactly what you think it's going to be. Hercules Serpent can work fine here as well. It just depends on what you've got and what you dislike about facing this champion. Heal or hide, some of the stuff, it just wasn't as scary as maybe you might think. There is Calcify and Power Focus, but apart and Immune to Bleed. But then again, like, yeah, Chilf may not be the greater option here. Kingpin might be better. Crossbones, fantastic. So yeah, choose what you think is going to be best that you've got. But I'm sure that a lot of skill-based champions work relatively well against this. It's just like, oh, I can't access bleed. Okay, well, what's the alternative option? Do I go Silver Sable? Do I go something that's going to do a lot of damage? So Okoye maybe. Like, whatever you've got available to use. Even Kate Bishop might be an example to use, or something with a tracking debuff, like indeed Silver Sable. So choose what you've got. Okay, back to the path, and we have got 2.1 coming at you, and this one's all about using skill-based champions. Depending on what you've got available, Silver Sable, Okoye, Kingpin, Chilf, Bullseye, Black Panther Classic, Electra. I don't know if you want to use Electra, but Black Widow, Deadly Origin, Nick Fury, the usual suspects. Anything that's got access to a debuff or damaging debuff that is able to just not cancel out, but the cycle, the time just goes out. As soon as it goes out, you're able to get yourself a Fury passive, and then you're able to smash through a lot of damage. It's as simple as that, but there's some great skill-based options that are going to be helping you along the way. Even Mole Man could be of advantage. In terms of the boss, you've got Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler does have some tricky stuff with the, well, let's go with Incinerate. I use that term lightly because not really. There are two really amazing standout champions like Prowler or Bastion that have this evade, countering, and Incinerate immunity or interaction that can be just absolutely suppressing anything that Nightcrawler's got to throw at you. There is the issue of reverse controls, which I didn't really kind of like care to kind of learn, and I should have like learned to kind of like be a bit aware of that one. So for example, I reveal my trap card, which is for the duration of the defender's special attacks, the attacker is inflicted with a passive root or reverse control, starting with root and cycling whenever the defender finishes special attack. Now, I forgot to like play against that. And if reverse control immunity is something you need, like to Juggernaut, Jean Grey, Professor X, or Wiccan, right? If you want evade-based countering, maybe go Serpent or Cyclops. But I would say for a lot of people, like you could avoid all that by just kind of like, well, doing this, which is if the defender will be struck by a basic attack while suffering from a stun debuff, they have a 100% chance to purify it. Well, and evade the attack. Well, like that's something again to worry about, but not worry about. Again, I've always said this, like what's frustrating about this fight, and then find the counter for it. So the options I presented to you are the evade countering and a little bit of incinerate immunity, but also like options that are just straight up evade countering and can be quite aggressive on the front foot, like Serpent or Cyclops. But if you've got it, you've got it. Tech-wise, using any kind of strong tech champions could be good options here, but I would say that the ones I've mentioned, and of course put in the spreadsheet, are going to probably be some of the top options, like Prowler or Bastion. And I should have followed up to say you could bring in incinerate immunity-based options, but as long as you don't hit the block. Hitting the block will trigger off burning blocks, so maybe don't, but up to you. Like, evade counters, but don't hit the blocks. That's kind of it. Next on our journey is 2.2. This is where you have Seeing Red and Biohazard Incursions, which I don't know, it was like changed to the Incursions version of it. Anyway, any kind of mutant-based champion with bleed, debuff, immunity, or shruggers of any kind of shape or form could be good here. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's that bad to go, oh, I'll just bring any kind of mutant. But I would say it just ease of use. So ease of use would be, okay, Iceman, double immunity, Mega Red can deal with the bleed situation and kind of the poison situation. Magneto, great against hashtag Metal Champions. Colossus as well, bleed immunity. You've got Apocalypse, Old Man Logan, Rogue, Emma Frost, Mr. Sinister, Dust, Gentle Onslaught. The list goes on. There's tons of options that can be very helpful here on taking down this path. So don't kind of like overread into it of like, oh, it's scary, oh, I don't have the options. You probably do, you just don't realize it just yet. In game, you have Werewolf by Night as being that particular boss champion. But to be honest, again, I don't read too much into this with champions that are going to be, like, this is a scary fight. It's really not. If you've got Photon, Spider-Woman, Silk, Hulk, She-Hulk, Death of She-Hulk, Spider-Ham, Titania, Human Torch, Luke Cage, Count Nefaria, and any kind of like alt options being healers, just play this out normally and you'll probably find that you'll absolutely smash through it. I mean, some of these fights aren't overly complicated to play against. They're just, which is good because I think a lot of people need like ease of play. So yeah, those are some options as I said, and of course you'll see the footage of some of the champions that I used to take this down as an experimentation. 3.1 is coming at you with some Academic Constitution, Vexing Blight, Contagion, Weaken the Knees, Backboard Brawler, and some other stuff as well. Look, keep it simple. Poison immune based options are the best. any kind of like poison immune option can be good here. And of course, the science champions are normally the best for it. So yeah, just use some of those, and like just keep the pressure off you and the frustration. Just use some of these kind of poison immune options, which you can go Quake if you don't allow it to be touched. That's an old school like recommendation there. But Mortal Abomination, Scorpion, Joe Fixit, Hulk, Death of She-Hulk, Anti-Venom, Red Hulk if you want to go that way, Overseer. There's so many. There's so many champions, and it just depends what's on the path, what's on the route. You could go in other lines of oh, well, just use some tech poison immunity. You could use a Mega Sentinel. Like, you could think outside the box with your options here for this to kind of make it more easier. But again, it just depends like how you want to play this. We always give the options, the flexibility of you as a player base when we're making recommendations on where to go with it. So your final boss is going to be the newly added Franken Castle. This actually is, and I haven't seen many people recommend this, but I love this, and I had a good fun kind of breaking out an old school, an OG option to counter this. Franken Castle is a hashtag metal based champion. So therefore, Red Magneto, or to a lesser degree, White Magneto, can counter this very, very well and very, very easily. You could bring in some really meaty mutant champions like Mr. Sinister, Dust, or any kind of strong mutants in general. I'm not sure if I'd bring in Onslaught of this, but look, if you are frustrated or annoyed about the unstoppable elements to the champion, well, bring in the likes of Chilf with the Grit buff. Beta Ray Bill has exactly the same. Captain Britain does have a slow debuff, and there are many other champions that can be helpful here. Not just those three that I've mentioned, but anything that's got an unstoppable base countering to it, you could use this if the unstoppable is frustrating. I mean, I used Red Magneto for the cheese. Can't recommend anything else enough. The final path is Crack in the Armor. This is all about breaking out those cosmic champions and buff generators. In particular, those that are able to get an armor break can be very, very effective right here against this. That's why Medusa with the medium attacks, Hercules with the Cap Infinity War synergy, Corvus, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Hyperion, SB2, I think Scream as well as another great option, Cull Obsidian, King Groot, really like King Groot, Vision Arcus maybe, yeah, Ronin Heavy Attack. There's a lot more than this that you could use. Anything that's got an armor break is helpful, but to be honest, like, yeah, most things can do this pretty darn smoothly. In terms of your boss, you've got the delightful Dracula. And look, again, another thing where it doesn't run that deep to kind of like to find a decent counter here. Any strong science-based champions can do this pretty well. Titania could probably do this pretty well. I cheese this with Hulk. People have cheesed this with Silk. Human Torch can cheese this. Miscounters with Cyclops. Look, there's so many champions out there that can absolutely destroy this champion. But if you've got Hulk, makes it easier. Overseer can be good here, but maybe not with the buffs. Yeah, Titania, anything that doesn't have a buff could be good. So you pick what you got. If you got a bit of buff immunity, should be fun, should be fine. And just watch out for that miss on block, and you should be able to absolutely destroy Dracula in the process. And that's been it. Thank you very much for watching the video. And I'm sure there was something else I was meant to say that was important to like what this is. But yeah, anyway, Elder difficulty I'm going to work on because it's a different structure and you have to choose so many champions and also plan a roster around the path. So that'll be out at some point in the next few days, but everything takes time. And it's taken a lot of time to get this done, as well as many other things as well. But I'm looking forward to getting it done. Cheers, everybody. Bye.